What's up, guys? Today we are inside of Swordburst 2, and unless you've played the game recently, you aren't familiar to this map. You aren't familiar to this map, most likely. But, today, we are going to check out the drops, and I'm going to show you guys how to get to the boss. It's honestly pretty simple. A lot of people already know how to do it. I'm just going to show you guys, just in case you don't know, because, I mean, if you don't know, then someone might not help you. So, I'm gonna help you guys. So, basically, we're gonna start off with the weapons. And, the first one is the Collective Buster. Now, I'd just like to say before we start that all these swords do the exact same damage on this floor. Like, no matter what sword in the game you use, it's always going to do the exact same damage. So, although this says 150, and then my Kusanagi said like 2,400-ish, even though the numbers are different, it does the exact same damage in this floor. So it's only this floor though. In normal floors, this will do 150 damage, and the Kusanagi will do its 2,400-ish damage. So, yeah, it's just this floor where all the damage are, or all the damages are the exact same. So basically, to defeat enemies, you have to get certain hits, not, certain damages. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, this is the first sword. It's the Collective Buster. It honestly looks pretty epic. It's an uncommon, I believe. There's some of these games where it's green for rare. Yeah, it's uncommon. There's some games where it's green for rare, and then others are green for uncommon, so I get mixed up sometimes. But in this case, it's the uncommon Collective Buster. It does 150 damage. That guy's either hacking or using a very weird speed glitch, or he's using a speed glitch while lagging. Okay then. But basically, it does 150 damage, like I already said. It's level 0, so if you can get this sword, which also it drops from Icy Imps, it's either Ice Imps or Icy Imps. I can never remember their names. But oh, I got a rare upgrade crystal. That's pretty epic. I don't really need that though. I'm assuming that the pink guys give the legend upgrade crystals, which is actually really overpowered. I didn't know that. So yeah, this sword is pretty decent, especially for a level 0 sword. It does 150 damage. Again, I've said it 1,000 times. It's level 0, 150 damage. It's dropped from Ice Imps or Icy Imps or whatever they're called. And yeah, it's honestly a pretty good sword, especially seeing how it does 150 damage clean. So I haven't upgraded this at all. So that's pretty epic. But, yeah, in other floors, once you get to the higher floors, like, even just floor 3, it's not gonna start to cut it anymore, and you're gonna need to get a better sword. For example, the icebreaker longsword. Well, actually, let's skip that one for a bit. For example, the Peppermint slasher. This does 250 damage. It's also a level 0 sword. It also looks pretty epic. Unfortunately, the way that my avatar is, the shields kind of, glitches into the main part that's kind of cool. But basically, you have like little I said Halloween, Christmas decorations. So that's pretty epic. It does 250 damage per hit. Again, clean. I have not upgraded any of these. So I actually don't know any of the max damages except the last one, which is the legend that we're going to talk about. But for now, yeah, we're just gonna roll with this. So, again, this is pretty good, but eventually it's not going to cut it. So you're going to want to go to the level 30 icebreaker, because it does a little more damage. 30 damage per hit. Not 30. If it did 30 damage per hit, that would be terrible. 300, I mean. So, if you can get this sword and you're level 30, it's pretty good. Honestly, though, I don't think this is really a good sword. And I'll tell you why. If there's a level 0 sword that does 250 damage clean, and this does 300 damage clean, but this is a level 30 sword, I don't think that's really a good sword. Either this is underwhelming, or the Peppermint slasher is too overpowered. So, yeah, is this sword good? I mean, it does more damage, but it's not really good in my opinion. There's much better swords, I believe, once you get to level 30. So, is it worth getting? Probably not. but it's unless you want to collect it like I do. I'm trying to get almost every single weapon in the game. The only weapons that I'm not going to be able to get are the ones that aren't in the game anymore, obviously. But also I forgot to mention that with all of these swords, they actually glow when you use the special move. So that's actually pretty cool if you ask me. So they glow like that. And I got another rare upgrade crystal. That's pretty epic. And, okay, I'm getting swarmed here. Okay, I'm just gonna run. Yeah, basically this area you just want to run. Because they just swarm you in this area. Anyways, though, yeah, this in my opinion is not the greatest sword, but we have the level 75 Snowflake scythe. Now, although it kind of again is a little bit underwhelming, it's definitely not as underwhelming as the icebreaker sword, because that sword barely does any damage if we're being honest. But this one, it's pretty good. It honestly looks pretty good, especially with the aura on. Also, this is where you get the collective buster from. It's the icy imp. So that's his name, Icy, not Ice. Okay. So yeah, it's basically this is honestly a pretty good sword. Or a scythe, I should say, because it technically is a scythe. It's dropped from the boss just like the Peppermint slasher, and also the icebreaker sword is dropped from, well, I forget exactly what they're called, but if you go, when you spawn in, there's two paths. I went to the left one. If you go to the right one, there's some enemies there. Those guys drop the icebreaker sword. Anyways, though, we're going to my favorite part of this. You go under the water. It's honestly pretty cool if you ask me. In this area, I don't suggest that you sprint because sprinting won't do much, if at anything at all. Diving, however, will. So in this area, you're going to want to dive or roll, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it dive because I just like saying dive better. Once you get to this part, then sprinting will be better again. But yeah, inside that first part, sprinting is kind of useless. Anyways, though, what you're now going to want, well, what you're now going to want to do is you're going to want to keep going forward. But anyways, back to the ice, not the ice, the Snowflake scythe. It does 900 damage clean. This is the only one that I actually know the max damage of. And the max damage is, okay, I'm getting really swarmed here. The max damage is 1,800. So it's a pretty decent weapon. Again, there's much better stuff. For example, the Kusanagi, but this is only level 75. And seeing how a max Kusanagi does, again, I think like 2,492 to be exact. I don't actually know. Let's go check. 2,452, not 92. But basically, yeah, it's pretty epic. Especially just for level 75. Again, there are probably better weapons out there, but those are probably a bit higher levels, so that makes sense. For example, this guy's scythe is definitely better than this one, but that's because it's a much higher level. I believe that's actually level 100, so yeah, it's a lot higher. So honestly, for a level 75 weapon, this is pretty overpowered, if you ask me. Well, it's not overpowered, but it's pretty good, you get my point. But once you cross into that door, you'll be in here, and the boss will spawn right there. So, yeah, basically that's all the weapons. Honestly, I think they're pretty cool. There's the boss right there. And, yeah, now we're gonna defeat the boss. So basically, the best way to defeat the boss is charge at the boss, because otherwise your team is going to destroy him too fast, and you aren't gonna get there in time. As you can see, he has 3 bars of health, though. Basically, there's 99% of the time going to be, like, a swarm of people here. Just just hold down the mouse button or hold down the attack button, depending on what device you're using. And it's honestly really easy. If you get lucky, you will either get the Snowflake scythe, which I believe it has like a 1.5% drop rate. And if you get a little bit not as lucky, you will get the the Peppermint slasher. So, Yeah. Are these weapons good? Most of them, yes. The icebreaker, not really. um, but yeah, it's going to be it for this episode in Sword Burst 2. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, or you want some more Roblox Sword Burst 2. We gotta take out the boss, but everybody, peace out.